The federal indictment of New York Attorney General Letitia James on charges of bank fraud and making false statements to a financial institution marks a highly consequential moment in American political and legal history. This event is not simply a criminal prosecution. It is widely viewed through the lens of political retribution, raising serious questions about the independence of the Department of Justice and the integrity of the rule of law. The core of the indictment centers on a 2020 mortgage James secured for a property in Norfolk, Virginia. Prosecutors allege that James misrepresented the property's intended use, claiming it as a second home to qualify for more favorable loan terms, when her true intent was to use it as an investment property that would be rented out. By allegedly misstating her occupancy status on the loan application, James secured a slightly lower interest rate, resulting in a total alleged financial benefit of approximately $19,000 over the life of the loan. Following the indictment, James delivered a forceful public statement dismissing the charges as baseless and politically motivated. She explicitly accused the president of using the federal law enforcement apparatus as a means of desperate weaponization and retaliation for her successful civil lawsuit against the Trump organization, emphasizing that she would not be intimidated into silence. The reasons underlying this extraordinary prosecution are overwhelmingly perceived as political. The timing and circumstances surrounding the indictment lend powerful credence to James's claim of retribution. For months leading up to the charges, the president had publicly and repeatedly demanded that the Department of Justice pursue James, often posting on social media without citing specific evidence. Critically, the indictment was secured only after a veteran, career U.S. attorney, who had reviewed the evidence and declined to bring charges due to a lack of probable cause, was abruptly replaced. The new U.S. attorney, a former Trump lawyer with no prior federal prosecutorial experience, swiftly brought the case to a grand jury. Furthermore, legal experts have noted the unusually low dollar amount of the alleged fraud, just under $19,000, which is negligible in the context of typical federal bank fraud cases, where prosecutions are usually reserved for those involving substantial losses to federal housing entities. This disparity strengthens the argument that James is being selectively prosecuted based on her political profile. The consequences of this action are profound, extending far beyond the fate of one public official. Immediately, the indictment has intensified the political divide, rallying New York Democrats and national figures behind James, who is now cast as a martyr opposing the weaponization of the state. For the justice system, the most damaging consequence is the erosion of public trust in the DOJ's political independence. The perception that the federal government is targeting political adversaries fundamentally undermines the principle of equal justice and threatens the norms that separate democratic governance from authoritarian tactics. If convicted of a felony, James would automatically relinquish her office under New York law, triggering a gubernatorial appointment and a special election, injecting high-stakes chaos into the state's executive branch. Looking ahead, the legal path for the prosecution is fraught with difficulty. Many legal commentators anticipate that James's defense will mount a strong challenge based on selective prosecution, citing the president's public animus and the replacement of the career prosecutor as compelling evidence of vindictiveness. Proving criminal intent, that James knowingly and intentionally misled the lender, as opposed to making an honest mistake in the paperwork, will be challenging for the government, particularly given the low financial benefit. Therefore, a likely prediction is that the case will remain mired in pretrial motions and, if it proceeds, become a prolonged, high-profile trial that keeps the subject of political weaponization at the forefront of the national debate through the next election cycle. The solution to the institutional crisis revealed by this prosecution lies in establishing robust, nonpartisan safeguards around the Department of Justice. This requires institutionalizing protocols that grant special prosecutors or independent ethics panels the exclusive authority to approve investigations and indictments involving high-level political figures, especially those who have been publicly targeted by the sitting president. Furthermore, the DOJ must develop and adhere to transparent, quantifiable criteria for deciding which low-loss fraud cases warrant federal resources, removing the discretion that allows political pressure to influence charging decisions. Ultimately, reinforcing the professional firewall between the White House and the federal prosecutorial function is essential to restoring public confidence that justice is blind, not politically motivated.